Alright, let's dive into the second half. In the first part, we talked about how listening skills are everything when it comes to being charming, and how mastering those skills can turn you into a superstar. Hopefully, you're all on board with that idea now. We also went over the 5 fundamental techniques. Now, in this second half, I want to cover the 4 things you absolutely must not do, even with those basics under your belt. It might seem like a lot to remember, but I've boiled down 9 or so common mistakes into these core 4. So listen up. First and foremost, the number 1 thing you absolutely cannot do is to be negative. This is where things get really interesting. What's key is understanding the fundamental human desire for safety. People crave security, even more than money or popularity. Without a sense of safety, we're constantly plagued by anxiety. Think about it. Could you enjoy the most delicious foie gras if someone was holding a gun to your head? No way. Or how about this? Imagine you're crossing a rickety railroad bridge and someone is telling you that a celebrity actually loves you. You wouldn't care. Your life would be in danger. Security comes first. Even being told by a superstar they love you while you're being pushed off the top of a skyscraper onto a railway line wouldn't be great. The desire to partner with that superstar comes second. Life is number 1. So, with that in mind, what does it mean to be negative in a conversation? It's like a terrible attack on someone's sense of safety. Let's say I tell you, you know, I think the best kind of bread is bean-filled bread. Maybe it's not the most fascinating topic, but I want to talk about it. I want to share my opinion. But if you immediately jump in with, "What? No way, croissants are way better," suddenly I don't want to talk to you anymore. You've killed my enthusiasm. I'm not going to share my secret bean-filled bread recipe with you. I have a secret special move I invented for bean-filled bread. It is soaking the bread in corn soup and microwaving it for 3 minutes. I want to talk about this. Conversations aren't about winning arguments. They're about connecting with people, about being liked. Everyone wants to be liked, to be seen in a positive light, to be accepted. So why don't we focus on avoiding being disliked before trying to be liked? Being liked is a bonus, but making sure you're not disliked is the foundation. And if you're thinking, "I just want to be myself, and if people don't like it, that's their problem." Well, really? Don't you want to be liked, even a little? If you can avoid being unnecessarily disliked by changing certain behaviors, wouldn't you do it? Avoiding being disliked is simply easier, isn't it? So how do you do that? It's simple. Start with, "That's great," no matter what they say. Always start with some positive comment. For example, your daughter says, "Hey Dad, I'm thinking about going mountain climbing." The worst response would be, "Mountain climbing? That's too dangerous." With that one sentence, you've shut down the conversation. She's not going to tell you about her weekend plans anymore. Or if she says, "I'm thinking of climbing Mount Takao," and you reply, "Mount Takao? If you're going to climb a mountain, you should climb Mount Fuji." You're doing it again. She's definitely not telling you which mountain she's going to climb. But what if you started with, "That's great. Hey Dad, I'm thinking about going mountain climbing." That's great. Mountain climbing is awesome. Yeah, I'm thinking about Mount Takao. That's great. Mount Takao is amazing. I've been there before. It's the best. Then she'll say, I'll send you pictures when I get to the top. Now you're getting photos. The first dad will never see those pictures. Why would she send pictures to someone who's just going to rain on her parade? People who are constantly negative miss out on so much. Some people think they're just being communicative, but they're actually being negative. Your face looks puffy today. Or, how do you like my new haircut? I liked your old haircut better. People will start avoiding you. They'll associate you with negativity and unpleasantness, and slowly people will drift away, leaving you feeling alone. So the key is to start with, "That's great." Remember, it applies even if you disagree. You don't have to only say, "That's great," when you genuinely think it's great. Even if you don't fully agree, start with the positive. "I'm going mountain climbing." "That's great, but I'm a little worried about you." "I'm going to Mount Takao with my boyfriend." Internal panic. "Oh no, I hope they're safe." "That's great. Mount Takao is so much fun. Just be careful on the way back, especially if it gets dark, and watch out for rain. But have fun." Saying "that's great" first makes everything easier. Next, the second thing you absolutely cannot do is to drive the conversation. Think of this as trying to control, handle, or steer the conversation. Don't be the one constantly hitting the gas, slamming on the brakes, or wrenching the steering wheel. What does it mean to hit the gas in a conversation? It means rushing things, pushing for a conclusion. You know those people who take forever to get to the point? "I want to tell you about something that happened." "Well, you know that thing, right? And I really like it, but, well..." You want to scream, "Just tell me what happened." Like my bean-filled bread story. If I started with, "I soaked a bean-filled bread in corn soup and microwaved it, and it was delicious," you'd get it right away. But instead I say, "You know, bean-filled bread and corn soup. You know how good bread is when it's warm? Well, I soaked a bean-filled bread in corn soup that my mom made." You're thinking, what's the point? Getting to the point fast is important. However, the conclusion is that pushing for a conclusion damages psychological safety. Like being negative, it makes people not want to talk to you. Maybe the person should have gotten to the point faster, but rushing them isn't the answer. So don't hit the gas. Be patient. Don't slam on the brakes either. This means interrupting them. "I put bean-filled bread in corn soup." Wait. You put bean-filled bread in corn soup? Who does that? And when did this happen? "Oh, it was during summer vacation." Summer vacation? What was that like? Don't do that. Let them finish their story. It is very frustrating when stories are interrupted. Why? Because people are wired to want to share their thoughts. The primal human desire to express oneself. People want to share their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. That's why good listeners are so rare. Humans crave security, but they also crave the chance to express themselves. Think of it as needing to empty themselves. Like a physical need to eliminate waste, we need to release stress, share ideas, and have our stories heard. Being interrupted is like being denied a toilet break. It's incredibly unpleasant. So let them finish. Don't interrupt. Finally, don't grab the steering wheel. This means suddenly changing the subject. No random by the ways mid-conversation. I was talking about high climbing in the summer, and then someone will change the subject. You're preventing them from reaching their destination, and that creates frustration. So, don't drive the conversation. Let the other person talk at their own pace about what they want to talk about. Don't yank the leash and drag them in a different direction. Give them room to explore. The third thing you absolutely cannot do is offer unsolicited solutions. When someone comes to you with a problem, don't jump in with, "Here's how you fix it." Offering advice is something that people will do when the advice seeker doesn't want any help. People misunderstand the meaning of giving advice. Don't just jump in and solve the problem. A magic phrase when someone seeks for advice is to ask, "What would make you happy?" People only accept answers that they discover themselves. Answers from other people don't mean anything. Someone asks for help. You can say, "That sounds tough. That happened. What can you do to make yourself happy?" That is all they want. People have answers. Offering a solution is not required. It's happened to me that offering simple solutions doesn't work. The magic phrase here is, "What would make you happy?" The fourth thing you absolutely cannot do is to use jargon or difficult language. Some people think using big words makes them sound smart and impressive. But most of the time, it just makes you sound out of touch and annoying. If you went to a business seminar, they'd be throwing around jargon left and right. In the NFT era, you need to commit to the NFT genre or you'll be obsolete. What's an NFT? It's just something. It makes people think your conversations are annoying. The most important thing is to be nice to other people. Nobody will respect you for throwing out jargon. Using specialized terms to show off is the most off-putting thing you can do. Don't use jargon at all. Don't try to show off. All of these things damage the feeling of psychological safety. Being negative, trying to control the conversation, offering unsolicited solutions, and using jargon to show off. Don't do any of them. It's okay if you slip up sometimes. We're all human. If you realize you've used a difficult word or tried to take over the conversation, just correct yourself. The key is to be aware of your behavior and try to improve a little bit at a time. Even just being aware of these things will make you a much better communicator. Don't think you have to change overnight. Just focus on making small improvements. People can change for the better. Even if you can't master all of these different techniques, there is one thing that will lead you to understanding it. People are emotional creatures. When you are listening, don't listen to the content, listen to their emotions. The content is not important. The emotions are important. What did they find fun? What did they discover? Or what were they sad about? Have you ever been told, "You're not listening to me," even when you thought you were? That's because you were only listening to the content of their words, not the emotions behind them. The next line, after saying, "I'm listening," is to repeat the content to the speaker to show you are listening. But that is not what they mean when they ask if you are listening. Imagine someone says, "The thing I put in the locker went missing. It was really important to me." If you just respond with, "I'm listening," they'll get angry. What they really wanted was for you to be shocked or sad along with them, to show emotion to them. You can listen to the content, but the emotion is important. What can you say or do? This emotion is powerful. It can impact people. This means you have to capture their feelings. That's terrible. That's so sad. Connect with them. Empathize with them. If you can understand someone's emotions, it will impact people greatly. The most important part here is that humans are emotional. Memorize that and change the lives of others.